The Strangers was directed by Brian Patino and it stars Liv Tyler and Scott Speedman. This movie came out May 2008, and this movie's inspired by true. This movie's inspired by true events. This movie takes place February 2005. It's about This movie's about two young couples played by Liv Tyler and Scott Speedman who's staying in an isolated vacation home until they're haunted by three masked strangers. And this movie entirely takes place at night. Yeah, I said at night. And I was not. I've seen this movie a couple of times. It's because it was okay when I first seen this movie a couple of times. Like I rewatched this movie actually last night. So I rewatched this movie last night, and I was just like, yeah, I feel like this movie sucked. This is one of the worst, creepiest movies. I think this is a little bit like a ripoff of Halloween. Like seriously, this movie is sort of like a ripoff of Halloween. Like one of the masked strangers is wearing like a Michael Myers looking mask without the hair on the top or something, and we have three female. We have no, I'm sorry. We have two. Sorry, we have two female. We have two female characters who's also wearing doll masks. You don't even see their face the entire movie. All you see is them wearing masks. And I'm sitting there like, this is like Happy Death Day meets Halloween. Like, remember Happy Death Day? Like a dude wearing a baby face mask? I don't believe this. I mean, when I first saw this, I remember watching this movie down in the basement, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not being creepy. Actually, no, take that back. Yeah, okay, never mind. So, when I first saw this movie, I'm sitting there like, after like I watched the whole movie, I'm sitting there like, yeah, this movie did not creep me out at all. I mean, this is one of the creepiest movies that you'll ever watch. Um, this movie is inspired by true events, which I don't know if this actually happened in real life or something. I'm not sure. I was like, did this happen in 2005 in real life too, as well? Which I'm really confused. One of the bad, the real, I mean, the thing is about this movie that like the best part of the film is Scott Speedman and Liv Tyler. They're really good. They're all, I mean, they're all fine in the movie, but Liv Tyler, I prefer Liv Tyler being in The Incredible Hulk than being in this movie. And Scott Speedman, I don't know what movies or shows he plays on, but I'm gonna look. I don't even know. I don't know what movies or shows he plays on. I mean, I'm not sure what movies or shows he plays on, but anyway, I mean, these two. When I first saw the trailer for the movie, I'm like, yeah, this movie's not even scary. I mean, there's a scene in this movie there was one scene in this movie that kind of looks a little bit creepy. There's one scene in the movie when Liv Tyler, her character, walks into a bedroom and you see, all the words just says hello written in like scrapes or something, and there's also a scene in this movie that also happened in the poster in this movie. That also happened in the poster for this movie. Liv Tyler is just like standing there, just standing like looking on the right or something, and you see one of the masked strangers just like sitting in the dark, just staring at her. And I'm sitting there like this also happened in the movie and also happened in the movie poster, and I'm like, you're just standing in the dark, and my only issues with that one scene, Liv Tyler's just like not just looking that way because she doesn't even know the stranger is just like standing there in the dark, just like staring at her, which is one of the creepiest things in this movie. That's one of the creepiest things, and so Scott Spearman and Liv Tyler decided to like work together as a team. Like, you know what, we're gonna have to stand up for ourselves. We're gonna have to start taking these guys down, and yes, and that is, I mean, so what? I mean, I know Liv Tyler and Scott Speedman. I mean, they're characters I'm talking about in this film. So even though they're doing the best they can to like get rid of these masked strangers, but these masked strangers are like they're just like not getting hurt. I mean, um there's like sometimes Liv Tyler starts screaming, just like screaming her head off out of nowhere, and I mean, I was just like, I was like, is that a good performance or not? I mean, like there was one scene that actually did creep me out a little bit. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I mean, there was one scene in the movie that can creep you out. Like she opens like the curtains, and then the masked stranger's standing there, just like slamming his hand on the window, and I'm like, oh my god. I am not a big fan of jump scares. And even though the jump scares in this movie, like the jump scares do not work at all. I mean, I don't. I mean, even though I'm not a big fan of jump scares, I love scary movies, but I'm not a big fan of jump scares. So I'm sure. So this movie, I mean, what I enjoy about the film, that's one of the best parts of the film, is the cinematography. Like you get the really good shots of the house, the inside of the house, you get really good shots of the inside of the house, and the directing is great. I love the directing. The screen is like this. I mean, I think the movie screen can be a little bit dark, like I mean, it can be a little bit dark or something. And and I was just like, this is something. I think this is the movie that should have been on DVD or probably just still in theaters. Even though I understand this movie's based on true events, but I was a little bit confused. But the movie is not really the movie does not really tell what's going on. The movie doesn't really tell you. But the movie doesn't. My only issues with this movie that the movie doesn't really tell you that has this happened in real. Has this even happened in real life, or the movie doesn't really like answer your question, and like say if you're watching the movie and you're just sitting there like, did this actually happen in real life too? Since it's based on true, this is inspired by true events. The movie doesn't give you an answer for it. The answer is we don't know. So these three masked strangers are like everywhere. Like these three masked strangers, like they're not gonna stop until. I mean, these three masked strangers aren't gonna stop. It's because these two couple are like like they're just trying to like doing the best they can to get things straight, clear their heads, and figure out how can they actually deal with these masked strangers, and and also trying to take them down, but the problem is these masked strangers like they're just rough, they're just tough, they're like no, you ain't going nowhere. There's a scene when there's a scene in this movie when there's a phone in the fireplace, and I'm like, why is there a flip phone in the fireplace? I don't understand. And I think one of the masked strangers like put it there, and they was like, oh no, you ain't gonna call. And the masked strangers all like, you ain't gonna call 911 on us. Not today. More actually no, take that back. They were like, oh no, you ain't gonna call 911 on us. Or, you ain't gonna call 911 on us. Not tonight. And I'm like, oh no, that ain't good. And I and also, Liv Tyler and Scott Spearman are trying to get out of that house. They're trying to get like leave or something like that. But these masked strangers are all like, "You ain't going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere. Not today. Y'all too. Y'all ain't going nowhere." And I'm just sitting there like these strangers, man. They're, I mean, they're rough. So one thing that was one of the worst parts of the movie. I mean the masked strangers don't get much screen time in the movie, and I understand they're the main villains. They're the main bad guys in the movie. These masked strangers are the bad guys, and they also I understand. And also they did have a second movie called the Strangers Pray at Night, which came out like 2 years ago, I believe. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna watch that one. I think that one is worse than this one, the first movie. Even though even though I'm not really sure because it ain't gonna be nothing much to say about this movie anyway. Because after rewatching this movie, I can't believe this. I can't really believe this. I mean, I love. I mean, sometimes this movie has a little bit of flaws into it. Like you're just not really understanding the answer. The movie's not gonna really answer your question of has this actually happened in real life or not. I wanted this movie that. I mean, some scary movies. I mean, some creepy horror movies can be based on true events or based on true stories. Something like that. And and yeah, and some I think some creepy movies can be like based on true events or based on true stories, something like that. Sometimes it does happen, like The Conjuring. I think The Conjuring was based on true events as well, and that's a creepy movie right there. That's the scariest movie that I liked. I love The Conjuring. I love The Conjuring spin-off movies. Those movies were the creepiest films, but The Strangers this Strangers is the same thing. The Strangers can be a little bit creepy sometimes, but my only issues with the movie is not even scary. The movie doesn't really scare you enough. It doesn't have that scary moment. It doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like you just want to just like jump out of your seat and just get scared or something like that, or make you like cover your eyes because these strangers are like just don't even creep you out. Like this, I mean, the strangers don't really do much. I mean, in the movie, but just like haunt for Scott Miniman and Liv Tyler's characters. Um, these three masked strangers, I'm like, well, even though one of the masked strangers do look like Michael Myers, and I'm like, you look like Michael Myers slash Scarecrow from Batman Begins. I mean, no offense, but that's different. Scarecrow from Batman Begins, he has a Raggedy Doll mask, and with this stranger from this movie, The Strangers, this masked stranger has like a Michael Myers mask, like a Michael Myers looking mask on. That's probably made out of a shirt or something, or I don't really know. I mean, I mean, it does. This movie also reminds me of this one movie, You're Next. See, now I get the picture. So, I think some of the stuff in this movie could have been like answered your question. I mean, yeah, something like that. And I wanted the movie to be extremely scary. I mean, this movie is not really being creepy enough. I mean, it is a creepy movie, but it's not being much scarier. It's not really being a scary movie or something like that. It doesn't feel like a scary movie. It feels like a creepy movie. And I was expecting this movie to be a little bit scary. I mean, I was expecting this movie to be extremely more scary, but it's not really. It's not really giving you the feeling of if you are scared of this movie or not. I mean, can you like let's go back to 2008. Like say you left this movie, like let's go back to 2008. Can you like say like let's say a person came home let's say a person came home after watching The Strangers in theaters and be like, "You know what? I'm not going to go home after watching this movie." I mean, okay. I understand the movie can be a little bit creepy, but it's not scary. I mean, after you know, like after watching a movie, you're just like, no. Can you imagine like after watching this movie at night, you just sitting there like, I hope there's no mass strangers in our house either, like something like that. So I think there's not so much to say about the film. Even though Scott Spearman and Liv Tyler are fine in the movie, they're fine. They're okay. I just wanted. I was like, no, I prefer Liv Tyler to be in the Incredible Hulk, even though she is in the Incredible Hulk, which did came out the same year, 2008. No wait, no 2008, 2000. I don't really know. I forgot what the year. I forgot the year that the Incredible Hulk came out. But this movie was fine. Like I said, this movie was okay. It's not really my favorite. I think I'm gonna rewatch the second. I think I'm gonna watch the second movie like probably like one of these days or something. Excuse me. And that's all I gotta say for this movie review for The Strangers. That's all I gotta say for this movie review for The Strangers, and that's it. So be sure to like, subscribe, and press notification button. Follow me on Instagram, comment down below, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you for watching, and also happy Halloween, everyone.